Greetings, programs. Get your ass in here. Welcome to another episode of the Geeks from Apartment 2 podcast. We are the Geeks from Apartment 2, and we are recording from Apartment 2 Studios somewhere deep in the heart of Rock City, New York. I am Alan One, aka the Last Starfighter, the geek with the voice, Fat Lady's Choice, the one that keeps her panties oh so moist. Sitting across from me, thank God he showed up, soldiering in here, sick as hell.
Yeah, it's me. It's Brother C. Got no rhymes today. I'm just trying to stay alive. That's how we doing it in these streets this week.
Well, I'm glad that you soldier through this to come through and do this podcast this week.
We're missing for the world.
Because if you didn't, I thought I had to do the show by myself, and I didn't know how the fuck that was going to work. Trying to do this in an empty fucking apartment, I can only imagine people outside being like, yo, why is this dude talking to himself? Oh my God, I'm living next to a fucking serial killer.
Only thing is, it's like, it'd only be bad if you started like spitballing ideas to the empty chair, jumping ship to this chair, and then answering them. That would be kind of fucked up.
Or if this was a video podcast, if there was just the camera's right there, there's an empty chair, or there's like a teddy bear or something right there, and was talking to a teddy bear that can't speak back.
You know what you do? This is what you do. If I am ever not here, you gotta do the ASMR cast and just whisper into the mic like this, and don't sell kids drugs.
Take a salad. I'm trying to help you get to sleep. Just think about us lying next to you, whispering sweet nothings to your ear.
Alcohol breath like Uncle Oswald.
Yeah. Why grab a titty? Or rub your butt till you go to sleep. Oh no.
So yeah. what you got for us this week, man?
So actually, let's take care of some business out of the way first. As always, there are three ways that you can get a hold of us. One is through the comment section on YouTube, like, share, and subscribe. Number two is through email at luckymerciless1. That's luckymerciless, one word, and the numeral 1 at gmail.com. And of course, as we told you last week, on Twitter at Geeks from Apartment 2, apartment abbreviated, and the number 2.
Excellent.
Yeah. So before we start today, I didn't know if I was going to have this conversation with you off mic or on mic. So then after a while, I was like, fuck it. Let's just talk about it on mic. Let's have as open a forum as we possibly can.
Yep, that's all.
So a couple of days ago, I was at work, and I was talking to one of my coworkers who listened to the test run, which, side note, the test run seems to be our most popular episode.
Oh, I shipped that thing out to like everybody.
Really? Well, that's why. Okay, but this the episode we did last week is is second most favorite.
Yes.
Which is up to this point my favorite episode.
I love it.
Yeah,
it was a good one.
Yeah. But in the process of, so he only saw or listened to anyways the test run, and he said that he felt that we were gay bashing in that one.
Okay, how so? Let me hear this.
See, that's the thing. He never elaborated on how or why we felt that we were gay bashing. He never actually explained that, number one. Number two, it's hard to offend me, especially, with all the crazy shit I've seen and done in my 43 years on this planet. But I can't lie and say I wasn't a little taken aback by it.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I've listened to that episode and all these episodes, and never once did I feel like we were gay bashing anybody or something like that. We have dick jokes and we have banter, but that's very different, I feel, from gay bashing.
I think it's more along the lines of, if anybody can be offended, they kind of even search for shit that's not there. So it's like, oh man, you can't please everybody, so we aim to please nobody.
Yeah. Well, so this is certainly not an apology.
No.
By no means.
All right, good.
But I will, or this is about the only time I'll ever explain things again. But you and I are not comedians. We're not stand-up comedians, but part of the show is comedy. And as we said in the beginning of this podcast, on the test run, I think, we are inclusive to everyone. We make fun of black people, white people, gay people, crippled people. Shit, there might be life on fucking other planets, and if they are, we're gonna make fun of them too.
Yeah.
Like, look at this weird ass fucking alien over here. What the fuck's wrong with this thing? What is this supposed to be? What are you? I didn't know they had salamanders on Uranus. That's weird.
Sounds like a disease, but continue.
Salamanders on Uranus, yeah.
Got the hot ass.
So, but yeah, we say what we say, and, you know, if people like it, that's cool. If not, hey, listen, man, there are thousands upon thousands of options you have on YouTube and wherever else we end up at this point. So, but we're not going to apologize.
Oh yeah, feel free to check those out, but come back to us, because you know what, we trying, and we're actually doing. That's the main thing about it. Yeah. It's like we don't have superb production yet, and we don't have all the glitz and glams of other podcasts, but yes. I feel if we shoot enough bullets, we're gonna hit a bullseye eventually. And hey, if we offended you, and you know what, we don't aim to do it, but take it in stride.
Yeah, take it in fucking stride. Absolutely. Speaking of other podcasts, shout out to the Binge Cast. Jim Law, Johnny Moreno.
Fuck yeah.
For people who don't know, the Binge Cast started out on JoeBlow.com. I was a frequent caller of the show. Some would even say a legendary caller of that show.
No, they will say a fucking legendary caller. Greatest of all time.
Yeah. So, among a lot of other podcasts I was listening to at that point, they were a big inspiration for me to come back and do a podcast. So I called their show, their voicemail, a couple weeks ago, and they finally got back to me on their show and critiqued our show on their show, and they quite enjoyed it and gave us some constructive criticism.
Yes,
some constructive feedback, I should say. They said the show sounded good. They said that I have a good voice for all this. That's
stunning.
Yeah. I've heard that quite a few times. Thank you. Yeah, I got a face for podcasting. But the one thing that they did say is that they don't want to have to go through YouTube because it uses data on their phone, which to me I was like, oh, so you're on fucking Metro like I am? You're on the $30 plan like I am? It's only that I can afford? That we should get to iTunes. Now, at some point, I like to think that will happen, but I don't know when. So in the meantime, obviously, this is just strictly YouTube, so we can figure that part out.
Yeah, I've been doing a little research, so we'll be up. We'll be up there sooner than later, but for now, bear with YouTube if you can.
Yeah, and we hope that you are still enjoying the show. Hopefully, anyways, we're getting new subscribers every fucking day, it seems.
Yes.
So, now that we got that out the way, I know that you are sick, and you were talking about off the mic that you didn't really have any stories or anything that you were doing. So I'm just going to go right ahead.
Yes. And
get into the bullshit that I had time for.
All right, let me hear
week. Let's get some fucking fuck shit out the way first. Jesus Christ. Last week I was talking with my ex-wife, corresponding with her through Messenger. And she asked us if we are going to touch upon, no pun intended, both the Michael Jackson and R. Kelly sagas.
Yeah, damn right. Let's hit it up. We'll start off with MJ first, right?
Well, here's the thing. Even before we get into all that.
Okay.
Even before we get into all that, because oh boy, do I have some thoughts about at least one of the two of them, right?
Mm-hmm.
But in the process of coming up with an idea for the show this week, I actually sat and thought for the last couple of days about the rise of the documentary.
Oh, the R. Kelly one?
Just documentaries as a genre.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Because it seemed like when I was growing up, right, if you wanted to watch a documentary, and you didn't have cable, there was really one place that you could. I was about to say, I thought we stopped there for a minute. There's only one place that you could see it, and that was PBS.
Yeah, pretty much.
Right?
And it was all historical.
Yeah, because the first documentary that I ever saw that I think a lot of people had talked about at that particular point was the Ken Burns Civil War documentary.
Yeah.
And if you're a geezer like me, chances are you watched that in school like I did. That was that week where the social studies teacher had no curriculum whatsoever. So they were like, I'm just going to throw on this fucking 80-hour goddamn documentary about the goddamn Civil War while I go outside and have a quick smoke and or get topped off by the Spanish teacher.
Yeah.
Act like that. Come on. Act
No,
like that
we all had that Spanish teacher. Anyway.
Yeah. And as time went on, HBO, they got into the game, and they're still in the game today. Because they came up with quite a few famous ones, like Hookers to Hunters Point.
Oh, yeah, man. That they were known for just like that. Pimps Up, Hoes Down.
Yeah, I was going to say that one, yeah.
Damn, that's where I first started watching documentaries, probably like, being a wee babby child, hitting under the covers, TV as low as possible, because you're going to see a titty or something.
Right. And, as time went on, there was other documentaries that kind of captured people's attention, like Cocaine Cowboys. That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
The Beef series, I think you put those up there, yeah. And now here comes Netflix, right? And they've always been good about documentaries. As a matter of fact, I know quite a few people who, when it comes time to Netflix and chill, as the Thundercats say, they'll sit there and binge documentaries.
Yeah.
But it seems like in the last few years, we're starting to get documentaries now that not only are the majority of people are seeing and talking about, but they're also influencing the subjects of these documentaries. For example, Making a Murderer.
Oh, yeah.
Right? When Making a Murderer came out, people signed a petition to give to President Obama, try to get
Steve Avery
out of jail, which Obama probably just looked at it and laughed and like, hey, dingbats, that's a state thing. That's not a federal case. You got to talk to the motherfuckers in Wisconsin about that.
And they said, fuck y'all. And your petition.
Yeah.
He's staying up.
And now, so in the last few years, we've been getting a lot more documentaries, like Making a Murderer and Abducted in Plain Sight and the Fire Festival documentary, both of them.
Fan favorite.
Yeah. And stuff like that. And I was sitting here wondering, where did it start, really? When did that, what was the documentary that got everybody talking? Was it Making a Murderer? Can we go back to, say, even something like the 30 for 30 specials on ESPN? Because certainly, I've seen quite a few of them, and they're all very, very interesting and informative documentaries. I still have not seen the Ric Flair one. And I had people coming up to me that were not wrestling fans saying, hey, did you see the Ric Flair documentary? Yeah. Which I was like, no. But I don't really feel like I need to see that one because I kind of know his story already.
All right, I think you can look at these from two separate points because we have, actually maybe even more than that, we have the entertainment documentaries, right? So you have like your 30 for 30s, which are, just pinnacles of, sports in a given era. So you'll have like Muhammad Ali or, famous baseball player or just a famous event that happened in sports, just, a nice snapshot. Right then and there. But then you start having things of current events, right? And I think that's when people started focusing more because they're living in that time and it's just something that they can see shape around them from their day to day. So it's like if you look at how things were during like the OJ trial, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if that were happening today, you'd have the OJ trial. And then as soon as it was done, you'd have the documentary casing point A, point B, and point C of it. Because it's so current and people are talking about it that people are just hungry for information about stuff like that now. Where back then, I mean, yeah, you could sit down and watch a whole Civil War, World War II documentary, but, that's just for the history heads right there. But as soon as we have news that people want in the moment that the, CNN and stuff like the 24-hour stations aren't covering, that's where people are just going to Netflix to get their information or, Lifetime with the whole R. Kelly thing. Cause that happened within, everybody's pretty much either childhood where they saw the first cases or now when they're seeing, the second documentary and R. Kelly being, ran through trials again.
Right. Well, this is an interesting thought. There's no punchline to that shit. There's no joke or anything. I just thought it was interesting that now we're starting to get these documentaries.
But
which
I was about to say, I was going to make a point, unless you were going to segue into that. where you were talking about how it's shaping public opinion.
Yeah.
Are you?
That leads us to. Let's like you said, let's start with Michael Jackson. I did not see, and I always wanted to say Finding Neverland.
Yeah.
But that's an entirely different thing. All the fucking it's like Johnny Depp was like, no. That I didn't touch kids. I'm a weird ass motherfucker. I didn't touch nobody. I didn't touch no kids. Right. So no, it's Leaving Neverland.
Yes.
That was on HBO. That's why I haven't seen it because I don't have cable. As far as I'm concerned, I kind of feel like I don't need it. What I understand is that the documentary is about at least about two kids, who in court defended Michael Jackson, and now coming back and saying, "Oh, well, he actually did do this," which I think is bullshit. Oh, here we go outside with the goddamn horns and shit. Hold on, we're gonna just pause this for a second. All right, let's see if that messed up everything we just did.
Fuck it.
Screw it. We're
moments
earlier. Yeah, we were sitting here talking about documentaries. We was going to talk about the whole Michael Jackson thing and how I haven't seen it, and quite frankly, I don't really have that much of an opinion of it.
I mean, it really boils down to how do you see Michael Jackson at the end of his career? Did you, first of all, think he was into children? And second of all, do you think that really, I mean, if you do think about it, how do you view his legacy after that? It's the same thing with, R. Kelly as of now. It's like, do you look at his past work and say, well, guess what? He was touching children, so fuck him and fuck his work. Or do you just say, it is what it is, justice will run its course, but, Step in the Name of Love is my jam.
Yeah,
it's really hard because it's like, it's the whole removing the evil from the good, and I mean, you can't get any more bad than what either of those two are.
Yeah, and you know what? I think what I'm going to say about R. Kelly can also apply to fucking Michael Jackson as well. Yeah. So let me get into that. Again, didn't see Surviving R. Kelly because I don't have cable. But even with that one, I don't feel I need to see that because I was around when all that stuff happened. Yeah. I'm sure there are some nuggets in that docuseries that maybe I didn't know. But the majority of the stuff that he did, I didn't fucking knew any goddamn way.
We all knew about the videotape. We all knew about Sparkle, or what's her name.
Yeah.
We all knew about Aaliyah. That was just out there in the open. And it was one of those things where I had a conversation a while back when this whole thing first started, coming up again, as to why things weren't done initially. Like, why are things getting done now? And, they took him to trial and things didn't pan out. But my thing is this. It's like everybody was joking. It wasn't even a joke. People just knew that it was going on and said, oh, man, that dude, he's a bad guy, but he's also going to come out with a new track. So,
yeah. Well, even though I didn't see the documentary, oh, you better believe that late Saturday night, early Sunday morning, I sat here and watched the R. Kelly interview.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, boy. Man. And that's where my notes begin.
All right.
So, first and foremost, Gayle King, I think now she's got to be looked at as a new Barbara Walters after this.
Yeah.
Because she showed, as a lot of people said, showed a lot of poise. If she can sit there and interview R. Kelly while he's having a meltdown in front of all of us about the goddamn world, she can interview pretty much anybody at this goddamn point.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I mean, when he was sitting there just losing his fucking mind, she had to be sitting there like, cha-ching! You just paid for this house I'm about to buy. Yeah. I guess, oh God, I got so much to say about this.
Well, go ahead, man. Mic's on.
The first thing I wanted to say is that when he talked about, because Gayle asked R. Kelly if when he got out of jail the last time, before this time, the first place he went to was McDonald's. It's like, why would you go to McDonald's? You just got out of jail. It's like, that's my favorite restaurant. Told the story of how, when he was a kid, his mom would always take him to McDonald's for like Danish and coffee because that's all they could afford. So when he sees the M stands for mom.
Oh.
And I could only sit there and imagine a McDonald's executive listening to that and be like, don't you put that on us, R. Kelly. Do not put that on us. Do not Subway us, okay? We was doing just fine before your bullshit. Do not keep our motherfucking name out your motherfucking mouth, okay? Do not do that.
I mean, at least he didn't say, man, I could not wait to get a Happy Meal because I want a boy toy.
Yeah. No, you keep that shit over at Subway, all right? Between Jared and Jesse, they not looking too good, okay? We getting Shamrock shakes over here. All right? Shut your fucking mouth, R. Kelly. So that was one thing. One thing I guess I talked about in the documentary that clearly I really didn't know about his sex cult was that, they have to ask permission to do all this shit.
Yeah.
So now if they got to go to the bathroom, they got to knock, and he's not around. They got to knock on his door, and if he don't answer, well, there's a slop bucket in the corner. Go piss in that.
Yeah.
Go piss in that, bitch. I was like, damn, that's rough, man. That's some harsh ass shit.
It is, but the thing is, it's like, when you're that famous, right? And of course, he just got this ridiculous God complex where he's untouchable. And that's just one of those power plays that, psychos do. Oh, you got to ask me to do this and that. Basic human functions. You got to ask me for that. You can't, get down there and eat with your man, pretty much.
Man, I just thought it was ridiculous. His two girlfriends was Azriel and Joycelyn. When they was previewing all this, and I was watching it on YouTube, a lot of people in the comments thought that Jocelyn looked like she took the slow bus to school, but I didn't see that. And before I forget, boy, CBS this past week was like the chick you've been dating for a couple weeks, where she's just been teasing you.
Yeah.
She always wears some like tight shit, titties are popping out, and you want to fuck, and she's not giving it up until Friday. And boy, did she break you off a piece. She broke you off a proper piece on Friday. Goddamn. Oh man. The other interesting thing about those two is that R. Kelly was in the room where they were being interviewed. So I can only imagine R. Kelly behind Gail giving the fucking giving the fucking choke sign.
Just thumb across the throat. I will kill you.
Bitch, if you fucking say anything, I'll slit your fucking throat when you get home. You understand me? I'm fucking R. Kelly. I got away with this once. I will kill again. The one was Azriel or whatever her fucking name is. She was the much more entertaining of the two, but I'm sure they were prepped. Yeah. I was like, jeez. I think there was one other thing. This whole thing makes him look absolutely horrible.
I mean,
it makes him look even worse for doing this. I'm with Gail. Like, why are you doing this? Why? When all this evidence, because they said that there was another tape.
Yeah,
besides the tape that we saw. Well, I say by we, I don't mean me because I never saw the first tape. But I will tell you an interesting story about that. Back in the day when that tape came out, I was working in a nursing home in their kitchen, and they had one of those AV setups like in school. With the fucking cart with the TV and the goddamn VCR. So somebody had this tape.
Oh shit!
It's like, let's watch this tape. While we're at work, mind you.
Fuck.
So they rolled in the AV fucking getup, and there's like a group of people just huddled around this TV watching the R. Kelly sex tape, except for me, because I was like, one, I don't need to see this, and two, you're not supposed to have this tape, right?
Yeah,
it's child pornography. Yeah, hello.
That is one of those things that it's like, I heard about it, I never saw it, but it was one of those things. I remember vividly the first tape. I was in high school, And if any of y'all know about the city, we got the bootleg guys, and they keep their shit on blankets, right? Just so they can bundle it up if a cop rolls by and haul ass like fucking Santa Claus, right? So I remember me and my homeboys, DMC crew, we were in Burger King, and this guy comes in, yo, got that big R action. We were like, you are peddling child porn in a, Burger King. Guess it should have been a McDonald's. He probably get more sales. But it was one of those things that just took me aback how much, I'll say this as a pejorative, the hood community kind of just latched onto that. And I was like, man, this is just one of those really, really fucked up things that y'all are like clamoring about. But this is wrong. This is wrong on too many levels. So I was always, avoiding it, and I don't plan on seeing it ever. But it's just one of those things that's just
well, you can't now.
Yeah.
That shit is scrubbed from the internet. You cannot find it. Even if you wanted to, you can't find it. Which is a good thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a good thing. You shouldn't be watching that bullshit. Anyways, there's a million other things you could have watched, but you decided, I'm going to sit here and watch the R. Kelly tape, right?
Yeah.
Fuck out of here. Yeah. I mean, what more can I say about this? Again, I knew this is happening. It's over for him. Yeah. It's over. So when he's sitting there, because a lot of people say, well, he's a good actor. He was having this little meltdown. He's a good actor. No. Those tears are real. Because this nigga knows it's over.
Yeah.
He forget trying to make a hit album and all this shit. The other thing I wanted to say about R. Kelly is that why wait? Why wait till now? When all this evidence was in front of us this entire time. I'm gonna tell you why. And it's this weird thing, especially with us black people.
Mm-hmm.
We will protect black celebrities no matter what they do. Doesn't matter what happens. Because when that tape came out back in the day, that's when you should have gotten them the fuck out of here.
Yeah.
But guess what? He came out with fucking Chocolate Factory, and nobody cared. We talked about this on the test run. Boondocks did a really good episode about the R. Kelly thing. And I was sitting there this whole time, just like Riley was and Huey was. And that episode was like, okay, so because he has a hit album, does that take away from the fact that he's done some bullshit? Nobody cared. Nobody cared until this documentary came out.
Yeah.
And then everybody was like, oh my God, R. Kelly's a monster. Oh my God, Michael Jackson's such a monster. But we know this.
Yeah. And I think it is one of those things, because I did touch upon this point at in the conversation I had at the job, where it was like, it's one of those things where it's like you were saying, we got to protect ours. This is our celebrity, and this, that, and the third. It's like, nah, you don't. You have to distance yourself from that, because that doesn't give us any credibility whatsoever that we're going to protect a monster. For what? He doesn't care about the layman that's sitting out there listening to his album. He only cares about himself.
Mm-hmm.
That's all he's going to care about. He doesn't care about the people he's hurting. He only cares about himself. And guess what? He's going to hang by himself too.
Yeah. Like I said, because you look at white people, they're quick to get some motherfuckers out of here. And I'll give you two great examples of that. A recent time. Louis C.K., right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, help me out, because maybe I'm wrong about what happened, but he didn't force these women to watch him jerk off. He asked, right?
Yeah, but one of the things that I kind of know about the Louis C.K. controversy is that it was one of those things where it's an ongoing joke amongst the comedy crowd. So it's imagine you take an insular joke and then bring someone that's not in on the joke into that group, and they just completely, they don't know how to deal. Like, if we make jokes on each other, when people hear us joking on each other, they're probably like, do these guys even fucking like each other?
Right.
How can they be so mean to each other? And so it's just one of those things where it kind of got too far out of his circle, and that's just one of those things where I'm sure it's like, I think what he did, it was kind of wrong, because as he said in his apology, he was in a position of power over these people, so it can be viewed pretty badly.
Okay, but My point is, he didn't force them to. They could have easily said no, and that would have been the end of it for him. Now, if it came out that he locked the door and told these women, well, either you watch me jerk it, or you're not going to fucking have a job, that's one thing.
That is one thing, but that's where his whole thing is kind of dicey, because this is like a time where I'll, say like the victims have a good point. It's when you're dealing with a person that has leeway of your upward mobility. You don't see the situation for what it is until you've been removed from it for a little bit. Yeah, they could have been like, nah, fuck this. But they're thinking, what am I doing? This guy's powerful. And that's the mindset that they had. It's you're totally right. They could have removed themselves from the situation, but in that moment, I think they were thinking, fuck, this guy has a hold on my future, my career.
Yeah.
And that's just one of those things where, you got to sidestep your career for your personal safety. You'll always be able to grab at another star, but you don't get, your dignity back. That's one of those things.
Well, my point is that he did something far less worse than R. Kelly.
Yeah.
And he did the right thing. He took a year off, didn't do interviews, didn't go on social media. And then he tried to go back to do stand-up, and these people were like, get him the fuck out of here.
Yeah, pretty much.
Here's the other one. Roseanne.
Oh, yeah.
One tweet. That's all it took. One tweet during an Ambien fucking trance. And ABC took her show, which was doing huge numbers for a network television show, which is unheard of these days.
Right?
Yeah. And it said, get her the fuck out of here. Meanwhile, R. Kelly did all this fucking shit and was still able to make money. And how many times have we seen this with black people? We saw this with fucking OJ.
Mm-hmm.
We saw this with fucking Rick James, James Brown, Michael Jackson, and now R. Kelly. To which I want to say this to any black people that's listening to the show. You need to let this go now. We need to let it go. Stop supporting him. It's over.
I mean, even if you look at the Chris Brown Rihanna thing.
Yep.
When that went down, they were like, nah, Chris Brown.
Yeah.
You had police reports, you had pictures. I mean, people were still showing up at his concert, and she was like, nah, this dude is a fucking monster. And it's one of those things where it's like we were saying before, they just kind of swept it under the rug, and he kept doing what he does, and he had the community support, and I don't know where that comes from. I really don't.
Yeah,
it's like
I said, it's a weird thing. It's a kind of a weird thing because it's not like he's the only black celebrity out there. There are plenty of black celebrities who are positive role models.
Yeah.
Than R. Kelly. So y'all need to let that go. Okay? It's over for him. If you still want to listen to Bump and Grind because that's what gets you off, fine. That's your business. As a matter of fact, before we go on and move on to something else, on my Baby Driver over the weekend I put Bad Man.
Oh God, yeah.
He did this song for the Shaft soundtrack, the last Shaft movie with Samuel L. Jackson's called Bad Man. The chorus goes, I'm a bad man, not ashamed of it. I'm a bad man, and don't need your love. And I know that I'm probably late to the party because SNL did a skit about this. That was like their opening skit last weekend. And so I know I'm late for saying this, but this nigga has been giving us clues the whole fucking time.
I mean,
and Bad Man might be the sum total of that because that song came out before the tape did.
It did. But like everybody was saying, he calls himself the Pied Piper. Pied Piper is known for kidnapping kids. Age ain't nothing but a number, and a noun ain't nothing but a thing. Remember that? I can't even fucking remember what song that's from. But he's been, air quote, dropping hints for forever.
This nigga has been fucking Da Vinci coding us this whole goddamn time. Like, oh man, where's Tom Hanks when you needed him back in that shit? But I mean,
cut that dude off.
Cut him off. Let him ride. Let him ride. It's over. He shouldn't make another fucking dime. there's other R&B singers out here that hopefully, it seems like a lot of R&B singers are just weird motherfuckers. Like if it comes out tomorrow that, John Legend did some bullshit, am I really going to be that surprised?
No.
Nah,
Wait, what? Didn't even Drake do something like during that show where he had like the 17-year-old on the stage?
And then I think a little after that, there was rumors that he was grooming the girl that played 11 on fucking.
Oh yeah, I heard about that.
Like he was redshirting her, just waiting. Oh man, you got like what, another 4 years? The 4 years so I can pop the cork of that bottle of wine.
Yeah, it's one of those things. Right? It's like you have this mentality out there, and these guys they can have anybody, but they want what they want, and they feel like they can't be touched. So where do you take that? And I'm sure, like we mentioned earlier, they're probably white actors, musicians, whatnot, doing the same thing, but the second that comes to light, they're done for.
They're done. Well, sometimes. Because like I said, it happens sometimes with white people as well. Like Elvis and Jerry Lee Lewis.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where it's like, this is bad, but it may be good music. And that's kind of the thing with R. Kelly, is that if there was an album, let's say he had an album that came out before Surviving R. Kelly came out, and it was a hit, that record label would have tried to shelf that fucking documentary for coming out. Mm-hmm. That's the kind of problem with R. Kelly, is that he has no music to produce.
Yeah.
He had no good music out there to make everybody forget, like, oh yeah, he did this shit. Same thing with Michael Jackson, which is even worse because he's not even here.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you can say whatever you want now. He's dead. He's not here to defend himself. So go ahead, make all the documentaries you want. It's like, well, guess what? What are you gonna do? You're gonna arrest me from beyond the grave? You're gonna call the Ghostbusters? And fucking, that's just a movie. It ain't fucking real. I'm in the ground, bitch. Ain't nothing you can do. Know what I mean? Yeah, I touched those kids, and what? I'm dead. That's right. Fuck out of here, man. So yeah, that's all I really got to say about the entire R. Kelly fucking deal.
Yeah.
Yeah. And hopefully this is the last time I fucking hear about this shit. Speaking of black people doing dumb shit, Jussie Smollett got, 16 counts?
Yeah.
16 felony counts? Yeah. The cops don't like it when you fuck with them.
No, not only that,
when you do that to them.
It's like they were talking about how he is just now a Hollywood pariah, where he's untouchable, he's unmarketable, and I think this is one of those things where what he did was so inflammatory and just this is the shit that like sparks race war type of shit, where if it did go further, then the evidence was able to prove it could have been one of those real controversial things that divide people even further than they are already. And it's just it's sad because that was completely unnecessary. He's on a hit show. He was, an up-and-comer, and he was marketable. Now what do you have? You have a guy who's a fucking liar, and he got caught with his fucking hands out looking for sympathy. For what? No fucking reason.
Yeah, we went into much detail about this a couple weeks ago. But I guess the rumor is now that Fox might just cancel Empire because of all this.
That's a fucking shame, though.
Yeah, is it though? It's not the same show that it was. You know what I mean? Like, I figure that even if this didn't happen, that show, even if some people still say it's a hit,
yeah,
I don't hear a lot of people talking about that show like they were.
It was on everybody's fucking tongue.
Yeah, I mean, even I watched it, and even you were like, man, I can't believe you're watching this show. I was like, it's a good show. But as time went on, it kind of jumped the shark a little bit. And now these days, I don't hear anybody saying that, oh, I got to break my neck to get home to watch Empire.
Yeah, more like game over, bitches.
Yeah, so that's that. Fuck out of here with this shit. All this sad shit. Let's get into some other shit. There's some movie shit for a second.
All right.
I saw the trailer, the first full trailer for Aladdin.
You mean Prince of Persia?
Oh, you saw it?
Yeah, I saw it.
Okay, so what did you think of it?
All right, so you know what? It's weird because I'm into like weird Bollywood shit too.
Mm-hmm.
And like the whole time watching this trailer, I'm waiting for the song and dance sequence where you have like 50 fucking people all dudes dancing with each other and all chicks on the other side. It actually looked like the second trailer. I mean, the full trailer. I actually think it might do fucking well.
Yeah, I thought that as well. It's like, again, because a lot of people judged that movie a little harshly off the first one. It was like, we didn't really see anything.
Well, because Genie looks like a fucking idiot, and it's so weird hearing Will Smith's voice
as
coming
the Genie,
as
and
the
not
Genie.
Robin Williams.
Because the thing is, it's like, okay, when Robin Williams did it, it sounded like Robin Williams, but he's kind of just an all over the place actor, so it was definitely cartoonish, and it fit because it was a cartoon. But hearing Will Smith's voice, it sounds like he's kind of dialing it in, where it's like if you watch the beginning of the YouTube Rewind, where he's like kind of like, haha, oh, that's cool, that's dope. That's kind of the same cadence I was getting from that trailer as the Genie. So, I don't know. Everything else looks pretty good. And the beginning, how they showed the chase scene, I was like, okay, this is kind of the cartoonish shit that I wanted to see, but it's live action. So, I'll give it a fair shake either way.
We're getting the songs, which I didn't think we were going to get.
Yeah.
I thought it was just going to be like this straight up, like, okay, this is Aladdin, but you're not going to get the songs, and we're getting the songs. So, I mean, would I see it? At some point, I guess. But it doesn't look bad.
No, it doesn't.
It doesn't look bad at all. I'm like, no, I think people are a little too harsh. And number two, Will Smith doesn't look like he does in that first trailer all the time in this movie.
Yeah,
he's in different costumes. But what's the song that Robin Williams sung with
Friend Like Me?
Yeah.
Yes.
It seems like he's rapping that one. And I don't know if that's gonna I don't know if that's really gonna help his chances, but I was like, well, what do you want? Will Smith can't sing.
No,
he's not known for singing. He's known for rapping.
I'm just waiting for the 808 drums to kick in and become a trap song.
Auto-tune and shit. You know that's coming. They had auto-tune back in old Arabia.
Yeah.
What? So, yeah. Speaking of trailers, that's the other thing that me and my ex talked about a couple days ago. Because we had talked about the Dark Phoenix trailer. She said that I should look at the international trailer for it. So it says, because it shows you much more than the domestic trailer does. Yeah. So I did. And I still stand by what I said last week. I am not impressed. I was just like, it looks all right. It didn't change my mind about it, not one bit. Not one bit. Another trailer that I saw, oh my god, I can't even believe they're making part 2 of this.
What?
Doom. Doom Annihilation. Did you see this one?
I didn't see this trailer.
Oh my god.
Like Doom, The Rock Doom?
Yes.
Oh,
based on the game, yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
First of all, I can't believe who asked for this? Who asked for this fucking this sequel? Because the first Doom sucked. That's one of the Rock's one of his more terrible movies. I mean, he's made some bullshit over the years, and that's one of them. Was Doom. The second thing is, it looks. How do you make a movie that looks cheaper than the first one?
You know what? I haven't seen the trailer, but as you're talking about it, there's like a Scorpion King 6. That's what it reminds me of as you're talking about this. How we're gonna keep the Scorpion King going. First we're gonna get Rock lookalikes, and then we're just gonna say fuck trying to do that.
Well, shit.
And it's just one of those things where it's like the budget gets cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. And I'm sure this is gonna be a big budgeted movie, but like you said, no one asked for this.
It's coming from Universal.
Oh.
Yeah. It looks like the kind of movie that would play after SmackDown on Sci-Fi. When SmackDown was still on Sci-Fi, it's like, well, after AJ Styles gets through defending the championship, here's Doom Annihilation, and then Sharknado Part 7.
Like those old classic WPIX movies, like Hell Comes to Frogtown and shit like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Oh,
it's something that definitely play on a Sunday afternoon. I was like, oh my god. This movie's not going to make no kind of money. Nah. Let's stay on movies for a second because this today was a different kind of Tuesday. It was kind of an off day, kind of a free day for me, not a typical Tuesday. Shut up. So I was like, well, what am I going to do with myself? So I actually sat here and watched a flick that I've had for quite some time, but didn't get around to seeing it till now. Escape Room.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, time for
So
that
basically,
bullshit.
the premise of this movie is 5 people get invited to this brand new escape room.
Before you continue,
What?
have you ever been to an escape room?
You know, I thought you was going to ask me that, and the answer is no. And I know what would I, because I don't like puzzles. I am dog shit at puzzles. When I get certain games, like a God of War or an Uncharted or a Tomb Raider, I like the action parts until we get to the goddamn puzzle. And I'm like, oh God, God damn it. Yeah, I'm the guy that goes to IGN and goes to that walkthrough just to solve the puzzles because no.
Okay.
The last time I tried to do that was God of War 3.
Yeah.
The puzzle at the end, and it took me an hour to figure out. And this answer was sitting there in front of me the whole goddamn time. I was
Put the rock on the scale.
Alan, you're a fucking tard. You are a fucking tard. So no, don't ever put me in an escape room because, or especially not one like the one in this fucking movie,
Yes.
or else I'm going to die badly. So yeah, the premise is that 5 people get invited to this brand new escape room, very elaborate escape room. Besides, now there's Zoe, the college student who's in like I think it was like quantum physics or some shit.
Okay.
She's the only black chick in Lost in Space.
Oh, okay. I know what you're talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah.
So it's her. It is mostly her story. Then you got the other black guy who's in the stock market. You got Amanda, the soldier, who's played by Deborah Ann Woll, who you might know from True Blood, and she was Matt Murdock's girlfriend.
Oh, okay.
And Daredevil. Yeah.
I like her.
There's a gamer that's been in like 90 something fucking escape rooms before this one. So he's like, I'm an expert. Rah, rah, rah. There's Ben, the grocery store clerk. Yeah.
Is like the grocery store clerk like the slow one or something like that? Because this is sounding more and more like Cube.
Yeah, and that's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so they go and the grand price is $10,000, which in 2019 seems kind of low.
But it's an escape room, and these things are usually made as budget.
The House on Haunted Hill, wasn't that like $1 million that you could survive the night?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, and that was way back in the day. This 2019, like $10,000. $10,000's not gonna last me like 6 months. You know what I mean? And these people are like, some of them like didn't really need the money. Like the stockbroker, he didn't need this fucking money. This guy's got $10,000 to piss away probably on cocaine, right? So they go. All these rooms are super elaborate. Some of the puzzles I did get right away. Mm-hmm. There's one scene in particular where they had to solve. They're in this cabin, and the answer is like it was right there. I'm not gonna spoil it, but I was screaming at the fucking screen like a typical black person in a movie theater. The answer's this. The answer's this. Hello. The answer's this. Hello. You know what I mean? So it's basically Saw without the blood and gore.
Yeah,
because it's PG-13.
That's what I kind of gained from like the trailers.
Yeah, and that kind of hurts this movie because it's clever enough. It just wasn't bloody enough for me. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? It's like, well, we're not gonna. It's PG-13, so we're not gonna give you heads getting cut off or some poor shit getting thrown into a pit of syringes. That sucked. That was the worst out of all the fucking Saw shit. I would hate to have to do that.
Yeah, I mean
that scene sucked. Oh my god, I get the chills even just thinking about that shit. Hardly anything that bad in this, but they made up for it with these rooms and the puzzles that they had to solve, and it was some of them were quite clever. So my rating for it is this a theater movie or a bootleg movie? Now, I was thinking about this because this movie came out months ago.
Yeah.
And it still stands. Like, if there's a movie that should have saw in the theater, it's a bootleg movie. I'm gonna say it's a bootleg movie. It's clever enough. It's clever enough. Like if you got 2 hours, it's only like 90 minutes. So if you got time to waste, 90 minutes to waste, yeah, you could be listening to back episodes of our show. But after you do that, if you got an extra 90 minutes. Yeah, you should watch it. It's not completely horrible.
Okay,
but it is one of those movies where you will telegraph who dies when. It is that type of movie. It's like, oh well, you're gonna get it first, and then you're gonna get it, and then you're gonna get it, and then she's gonna get it, and then he's gonna get it.
See, but that's the thing with us, and I'm sure a lot of people who are, avid movie goers, is that it's hard for movies to actually come up with something, one, that surprises us, and two, that's really clever.
Yeah.
Like, we're very far removed from twist endings and stuff like that, and it takes a lot to really blow us out the box. And I saw the trailer for Escape Room, and I was like, yeah, this is Cube. I'll just watch Cube. Or I'll watch Cube Zero.
Yeah, it's very much innovative. That it's just not as violent or as gory or brutal as Cube or Saw.
And I think it might just be a telling of the times. Like movies like that. Well, movies that we're looking for, the real heavy gore and stuff like that. We're not gonna get those anymore. We look at the remakes of classics that really took our breaths away, like Martyrs, the remake of that. You haven't seen that yet, have you?
No, I've only seen the original, and
Okay.
I think that didn't make Summer sick, but and I don't know why either. Thinking about that, like Martyrs for a second.
Mm-hmm.
There was a time when France was making all these really good horror flicks. What happened? Because you don't hear from France anymore.
You know what? It's weird because we could have done like just regional horror movies. Italy, France, Japan,
Spain.
They were doing premiere stuff. The problem with it is that one, it's hard to get that broad audience. Like I didn't like when I first saw Quarantine, right?
Mm-hmm.
Remember that movie where they're locked
the
up? The zombie flick, right? I didn't know that was a remake of a movie called Wreck.
Yeah.
And it's a Spanish movie.
Yeah.
And I went back and I watched it and I was like, well, fuck me.
Didn't they make like 3 of those?
Yeah, they did.
Yeah.
And I ended up going back and watching all 3, and they progressively got a little bit more action-y. So it's kind of like the difference between like Resident Evil 2 and Resident Evil 4, where it goes from...
The game or the movie?
The game, not the movie. Not Mila Jovovich.
We're going to have this bullshit.
No, we're not having that fucking conversation ever again. No, but it's just like the tonal difference where you have a very, like the first movie, real personal. It wasn't so much about the zombie shit that was happening around. It was the interpersonal relationship, stuff like that. And nowadays you have a lot of that just in regular standard television shit like Walking Dead.
Mm-hmm.
So it's hard to come up with a movie where you can throw just a batshit crazy idea out there and say, hey, this is a new concept on an old, trope like zombies and have it run. And pretty much America's just going to find something that's dope, then butcher the fuck out of it and then sell it to us in a watered down version.
Yeah. Yeah, that's usually how it works. Until 3 from Hell comes out, and I can't wait for that.
Oh, fuck yeah,
the last Firefly family flick. If it's anything like Devil's Rejects, I'm definitely in.
Instant classic.
House of a Thousand Corpses, not so much.
I got a question. Did you ever see Lords of Salem?
No, I haven't seen a lot of Rob Zombie stuff. I think that might be the only one I haven't seen of his. Oh, there was that one. There was another one he did, but the clowns.
Oh fuck! I didn't see that one.
Is it like a number? Like 13 or something like that. I forget what it's called. But his stuff is very hit and miss.
Yeah, it's
his stuff is very hit and miss. Because for every Devil's Rejects, and even Halloween, the first remake, which I get why people didn't like, but I did.
I like the spin on it.
Yeah, I like the spin on it. He's also done Halloween 2.
Yeah.
And El Super Beasto, the cartoon, which the first time I saw, I was like, well, that's okay. But then it had a domino effect, meaning that every time I try to watch that movie, it gets progressively worse.
When I saw El Super Beasto, and I saw it when I was younger, it just gave me heavy metal vibes. Like it's like a mix between heavy metal and Ren and Stimpy.
Yeah,
and that's all I really got out of it.
And even heavy metal is not the classic that People
fuck
say
no.
that it is not. No, it's not. I'm sorry. Sorry, everyone. That there's some good parts to it. But as a whole, every time I see that movie, I'm just like, And Heavy Metal 2000,
Oh yeah.
didn't care for that one either. With what's her nuts there?
Pamela Anderson.
No,
Wait.
no. There's God damn, I forgot her fucking name. Hold on. Oh, Julie Strain.
Oh.
Yeah, when Julie Strain was like the pinup girl, in like the late '90s, early 2000s, and she did that goddamn cartoon. I was so like, I don't care for this too much. Yeah,
fair enough.
Yeah, but I am definitely looking forward for 3 from Hell. I can't wait for a trailer to drop of this shit.
I thought. Oh no, it didn't.
No, it did. They just had like a little teaser at one of his concerts that I saw. So that's it for movie news for the time being until we get back to box office numbers at the end. Let's switch gears. Talk a little wrestling.
Wrestling. All right.
Fastlane was Sunday night. Didn't get to see it till Monday. Won't spend too much time on it. It was an okay show. There are the picture of WrestleMania is starting to form now.
Oh, okay.
A little bit more because it was the last pay-per-view before Mania.
We have any sign points yet? Do they have the sign?
We actually have quite a few.
Oh, okay,
we actually have quite a few. So let's talk about some of that stuff for a minute. One of the things that happened right at the beginning was, remember I told you about Shane McMahon and The Miz, that they're a tag team.
Yes.
It was just a matter of time before they broke up. Well, that happened on Sunday.
Got the turn.
Yeah, and it's Shane McMahon. Shane McMahon's the bad guy. And he turned on The Miz in his hometown of Cleveland.
Fair enough. I mean, what do you expect?
Which,
Shane.
It might be the first and only time I've seen sympathy for The Miz. You know what I mean? So that was kind of weird. Another thing is that we might get a triple threat women's tag team championship match.
Charlotte.
No. Sasha and Bayley, the champs.
Okay.
They retained on Sunday against Nia Jax and Tamina, aka the New Demolition. And a third team, Team Pinup Strong. I know you don't know who that is.
Hell no. One
is Natalya.
Okay.
Daughter of Jim Neidhart.
Yeah.
The other is the returning Beth Phoenix.
I thought she was old.
Oh, she is. she retired and she's in the Hall of Fame. But after the match, the New Demolition was beating the hell out of the Boston Hug Connection, and Beth Phoenix was out there doing commentary. So I knew something was going on. It was like, why is she out here? And then she got into the mix. New Demolition beat her ass. Then Natalya came out. They beat her ass. And I was like, oh, okay. I see what's going on here.
Yeah, okay.
Which I'm totally fine with. I'm like, all right, I wouldn't mind just seeing the New Demolition versus Team Pinup Strong at WrestleMania. But if you're going to throw in, the tag champions, that's fine too. Another thing that happened was this whole Kofi Kingston saga.
Don't know about it.
Okay.
So, catch me up.
Okay, briefly. So, back at Elimination Chamber, it was supposed to be 6 people. One of them was Mustafa Ali.
Okay.
He got injured. So, WWE said, okay, Kofi Kingston's going to take his place, which he did. Before the pay-per-view, he was in an hour-long gauntlet match to even get into the Elimination Chamber. So he got this big push. So when we get in Elimination Chamber, everybody's like, oh, well, Kofi Kingston, he might have a shot. He might have a shot at winning this shit, right? Even though I was like, get the fuck out of here. So now we get to Fastlane. And originally it was supposed to be Daniel Bryan, the WWE champion, versus Kofi Kingston. Till Vince McMahon came on and said, now I'm replacing you, Kofi, with Kevin Owens. Which everybody's like, what?
The fuck?
Right? So then we get to Sunday, and Kofi Kingston finds out that he's going to be in a triple threat match later on that night. Actually, not even later on that night. Like, that was the next match. Well, joke was on him because it was a handicap match against him and the Bar, Cesaro and Sheamus, who proceeded to beat shit out of him. So then when we get to the WWE Championship match, it was still supposed to be a triple threat. So now everybody in the crowd, and even me, I'll be honest, even I fell for it, was like, okay, Kofi Kingston's going to come out. Yeah, he's beat up, blah, blah, blah. And he's still going to be in this match.
Yeah.
Until it was Mustafa Ali. And you could have heard a rat pissing on cotton in that crowd in Cleveland that night. Because the wind got knocked out of everybody's sails. Because it ain't Kofi Kingston. Because everybody's like, wants Kofi Kingston to win the belt.
Yeah.
Right? Because he's been in the company for 11 years. A fact that WWE will not let you forget for anything. Like, yeah, he's been in this company for 11 years. So, I had two thoughts about this. First of all, they tried this before with Kofi, trying to push him as a big-time single star 10 years ago.
Didn't work.
It didn't work. And then he was in mid-card purgatory ever since, until the New Day. It was the best thing that happened to all three of these guys.
Of course.
Kofi,
because
they
were all jobbers.
Yeah, and then they all got together. It wasn't even supposed to work that way. Yeah. It wasn't even supposed to work. They were supposed to be like these church dudes or some bullshit. Yeah. Like these white meat baby faces, these good guys and shit. Until people didn't have anything to do, didn't want anything to do with it, and they changed their fucking personas. And then out of the goofy motherfuckers that come out with unicorns and pancakes and shit.
What I do know about them, as a side note, and Coffee, as him and the crew, is that they've been trying to market themselves outside of WWE as much as possible. And so, I mean, they're still, under that umbrella. They can't remove the fact that that's what they're known for.
Right.
But their outside push and what they've done with other communities and stuff like that has allowed them the amount of growth and staying power that they have had in the company.
Yeah, so, Up, Down, Down is a very, very fun fucking huge and very fun YouTube channel.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. It's like, I know there's some people out there that say like, well, the New Day stick was getting old. I never thought that. No. I never thought that not one bit. I was like, they've always been entertaining to me, and breaking them up would be a mistake. They're not the Shield. They're not the Shield in the sense that when the Shield first got together, everybody said like, okay, these three, all three of them are going to be big stars, and to a certain extent, they were and are.
Yeah.
But with the New Day, I was like, okay, if they break up, do I really need to see a Kofi Kingston singles push? Really.
No, you don't.
Do I really need to see another Biggie Langston fucking singles push? Of course not. And Xavier Woods, I'm like, hey, you got Up, Down, Down, but on your own, you're just going to fucking flounder.
Just another guy.
You know what I mean? So anyways, that didn't happen. My second thing is, okay, let's say that that's their plan. This is WWE's plan. They're eventually going to put the belt on Kofi Kingston. Okay, fine. Fair enough. Where would you rather see this happen at, folks? On a throwaway pay-per-view called Fastlane, or in less than 30 days on the biggest stage, on the biggest show of the year, WrestleMania, where it makes more sense?
You know what? In any event, he could potentially get the Connor Award.
He's not getting the Connor Award, and they don't call it the Connor Award. It's the Warrior Award. They just gave it to Connor.
Okay, well,
God damn it.
He'll get the Warrior Award for being the, best kid out there.
But he's not dying of anything.
Yeah, he's dying from attention. He's dying from some of this company love. So
he's dying as far as burials are concerned. I guess. Oh, okay. Metaphorically, all right. Maybe I'll give you that, but they're not going to give that to him. Yeah, fuck out of here. The other things from Fastlane, God, what happened to Nakamura? This dude was on the pre-show.
Oh, no.
Think about this time last year. This guy won the Royal Rumble.
Yep.
He was going to be in the match that everybody wanted to see with AJ. And it turned out not to be a good match, a decent match, because you're not going to get a bad match out of him, but it wasn't great. They had the little feud for a while, and then after that, he was done.
This is what I was talking about when he first showed up, and I was like, man, you know what? It's gonna take a little bit of time because he came in flaming hot, but I knew he's gonna get the fucking Kai and Tai treatment eventually.
Yeah, that's what's happening with him. It's such a shame.
Know how to take these stars from other properties and use them correctly. The storylines they always have are tired and old. It's like when you look at someone like Kenny Omega in New Japan, right? Mm-hmm. He gets to do whatever goofy shit he wants to. You know why? Because they entertain everything in that company. WWE, okay, can we get someone edgy? Yeah, we'll have him hit a child. We'll have him be rude to the fans. That's as good as you're gonna get from a heel. you know, we're gonna have him take a sign and rip it in front of the audience, or you know, say a city is bad. You never get anybody like, you know, classic, what you call it, Stone Cold or Undertaker, where you know they take a lot of the goofiness outside and they take the persona with them, or you know, even just a regular old luchador heel, where they wear that and that's who they are, and they can do like, I'm gonna rob your house, and you know, something goofy like that. But guess what? Nakamura, he gave everybody nut shots, and that's what he was.
Yeah, the nut shot artist.
Yeah, nut shot artist.
The nut shot artist known as Nakamura.
Shame. Is that what they called him?
No, but that's not.
But anyway,
if they did, I'd be like, of course you would.
That was his tired stick, and they don't know how to work.
It's not even that. They don't know how to market fucking Asian people.
Yeah.
I mean, for so long, same thing happened with Asuka until recently, and they kind of rebuilt her. But for so long, especially after last year's WrestleMania when she lost, and when her streak was broken, and then after that, it was like she couldn't buy a fucking victory until she finally got the belt back, and now she's, you know, still strong and all that. No, she's still champion on SmackDown, by the way.
I got a question real quick, because you know you mentioned, you know, how the fans don't really appreciate what the company gives them, and how the company doesn't quite listen to the fans.
Yeah.
Now, do you think that this is the company now just, you know, going to the same well over and over and over again because they're trying to just deal with the new fans that come in, all the little kids that are watching it for the first time, and just F the old heads that already know these storylines? Because you told me about 3 or 4 times have they rehashed something for, you know, a Mania or for a Rumble. And it's like, do you think that's the case, or do you think they just don't really give a fuck at all?
Well, especially with WWE, if you've been watching it long enough, there's not too much that you haven't seen already. There's not a new storyline that can come along that doesn't, that hasn't mirrored a storyline they've done in the past.
Yeah.
Like, let's take Becky Lynch, for example. She's a great example, okay? Becky Lynch and her storyline, even though it's a little wonky here and there, it's no different than, say, 5 years ago with the whole Daniel Bryan deal, where, you know, it's the same thing. He keeps scratching and clawing, and the Authority is just always throwing these obstacles in his way until finally you get to WrestleMania and he wins.
Yeah.
If you go back, it's the Austin storyline, where he's scratching and clawing, and everybody loves Austin, but here comes the Authority, here comes Mr. McMahon to throw roadblocks in his way all the fucking time. So, you know, you're never going to get a storyline that you haven't seen. Like, oh, you're going to do a gay storyline? Well, you've done that already. You're going to do a lesbian storyline? OSW Review did the top 10 lesbian pollen storylines. They let you know how many times that storyline has happened. So, it's not. I don't think it's that. You know, people say, "Oh, we want good storylines. We want good storylines." But like everything else in this world, there's nothing new under the sun.
Yeah.
You know, as the saying goes, there's no new story since the fucking Bible. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's the same thing in wrestling. Wrestling's not immune to this shit. The problem is that when the fans like a person and they want to see that person succeed, the moment they start losing, and WWE or WWE doesn't position them in the way that they want, they'll turn on them.
Yeah.
That's more the problem than a storyline. When the storyline ain't hitting the way that they want, well then fuck this dude then. You know what I mean? It's kind of happened with Nakamura.
It's kind of a combination of instant gratification rather than letting a story progress.
Yeah, letting the story, because to your point, like we said this before, where, you know, we're still in that MTV type mentality where it's always, you know, what's next, what's new, what's this over here? Oh, look, shiny new toy over here.
Yeah.
You know, we see that all the fucking time. Sometimes they do have, you know, I won't say that, you know, wrestling fans sometimes don't have a point. There are some wrestlers where I'm like, well, if this person over here is getting the fucking biggest pop of the night, getting the biggest cheer tonight, shouldn't that person be the top person and not the person who's getting booed all the goddamn time? See, they tried that with Cena. That, you know, where that's why they never changed him, because he was getting booed, but some people out there like him.
Yeah.
And same thing with Roman, which now, if you try to boo Roman, it's kind of wrong. It's like this guy beat cancer. Yeah. he escaped death twice.
No kind of reward for him.
Yeah. Speaking of Roman Reigns, the main event was The Shield versus Baron Corbin, Bobby Lashley,
Neville.
Yeah, and Neville and Drew McIntyre, overgrown Neville. And this was the last time that you will see, at least for now,
The Shield.
The Shield. Because as we all know, Dean Ambrose is leaving next month.
Yes.
So that was their last ride. So that was it for Fastlane. If you got a W Network, and if you haven't seen it yet, there's some stuff you can skip. There was some good stuff, but it was just an average pay-per-view. Too long. That show was fucking almost 4 hours long.
Jesus Christ.
For a throwaway pay-per-view, it's like, this ain't SummerSlam. This ain't Survivor Series. This is Fastlane. Who cares?
Mania,
you could have cut out so much shit in this show.
Full 6 hours.
Yeah.
Mania.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Yeah. So now let's talk about Mania for a minute. So we know that at least some of the matches that are happening so far, we know that it's going to be Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar for the Universal Championship. It will be a triple threat match, as we all kind of thought, for the Raw Women's Championship, Becky versus Charlotte versus Ronda, which better be the fucking main event. That's all I care about. As far as kind of, like you said, where the signposts or where's things headed, well, we do know one thing. Actually, two things. After last night on Monday Night Raw, it will be Batista versus Triple H in a no-holds-barred match, and it will be Batista's last match, which makes sense.
What movie is he going to be in now?
Well, he's going to be in Endgame.
Oh, yeah.
And I just assume they're going to make another Guardians.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to be in Dune.
Wait, Doom or Dune?
Dune.
Oh, okay, cool.
Yeah. And he's getting up there in age, like, how many more wrestling matches do you have left? That's the first announcement. The second announcement was Kurt Angle said, Hall of Famer, that his match at WrestleMania will be his last match.
Fair enough.
Yeah, he's 50.
They're all
he's fucking
old.
50, for fuck's sake. And, he's got bad knees, a bad neck. How much more longer can he do it as well? He didn't say who his opponent would be. He's kind of throwing hands like, maybe it's Cena, maybe it's this person, maybe it's
Undertaker coming back to start his streak again.
Right. We don't know, but we do know that will be his last match. Seems like it's going to be AJ versus Randy Orton at Mania. And we know it's going to be Shane and Miz, obviously, after Sunday. And I was thinking like one more, probably Kofi and Daniel.
Oh, okay.
For Mania, yeah. So that it's going to be a kind of a weird Mania where it's like, it seems like they're just kind of throwing it together at the last minute because they don't really know what the fuck they're doing right now, outside of
get these legacy matches out there.
Yeah, outside of what we already knew coming in anyways, it was like, okay, Brock and Seth and the triple threat match. Other than that, it's kind of like, well, we'll figure it out when we get there. So one last thing about wrestling, about WWE. Last night I was on their website, just seeing what happened on Raw, and I stumbled upon a story about a collaboration they're doing, which is maybe the coolest and weirdest that I've heard of in quite some time with WWE.
Okay.
They are collaborating with Garbage Pail Kids.
Wow. Well.
Yeah. Now I'm sure a lot of you Thundercats out there don't know what Garbage Pail Kids are. Go ahead and Google that. Because there were these cars when I was a kid that were real gross out shit. Like the first like kind of gross out thing that I remember was these Garbage Pail Kids. So WWE is selling shirts with their characters that look like Garbage Pail Kids, but not as gross as those cars were, but in the same vein that how they looked, and they're selling them at Spencer's.
I forgot Spencer's was easy.
I thought you was gonna say that.
I forgot Spencer's.
Like that's still a thing.
Well, it's like, I can't remember the last time I even been to a fucking mall, but at the same time, edgelords need to have a place to shop. You gotta find somewhere to get your, Mace-inspired dildo coupled with your glow-in-the-dark velvet poster.
Right.
Fucking bullshit,
man, you are telegraphing all this shit today. I had to say the same thing. I haven't been to a Spencer's in quite some time. It's been some years. But like you said, it's been some years since I've been to a mall. But the last time I did go, I went to a Spencer's, and you'd be surprised because Spencer's on the low has been selling WWE merchandise for years.
Uh-huh.
They also been selling a lot of New Japan shit, like Bullet Club shirts. So it's not. So when you really do think about it, like, oh, they're gonna do like these shirts with Garbage Pail Kids on them. Why would you not sell these at Spencer's? You're not gonna find them at Target.
Well, you do need like a retail outlet that'll carry it because everybody doesn't want to go to their store or do it that way. So
I'll just,
fair enough. You gotta have someone to.
If I had the money, I'd probably get one, but I don't. But that's the last thing. So that's really all I got. See.
So you got anything you looking forward to? Movies? Shows to watch?
No, I've still got to go through Umbrella Academy. I just haven't.
Oh, okay.
Not that I haven't had the time. Just like in my personal life, it's been a very, very
ups and downs.
Ups and downs, more downs than ups. So I just been kind of out of it for the last couple weeks. So I, try to make time when I can. Just like today, just sitting here watching Escape Room. But a lot of times, I'm just, it's called depression, folks. And maybe at some point we'll get into mental health and all that, but we don't have that kind of time today. Nor do I feel like getting into it right now.
Not today.
Not today. Maybe when I'm in a much more decent spot with everything, then I can come back and talk about what happened, but not right now. I was going to ask because I saw what you were playing on PlayStation.
Yes.
How is Devil May Cry 5?
Devil May Cry 5 is amazing. I actually beat it, right? It's not that long. And
of course, you probably digitally downloaded it, so I can't fucking play this shit.
Come in my house.
That's the kind of gift and the curse of digital downloads these days. Is that you can get it right when it comes out, but you can't share it like you could. Because I'd be like, oh, you beat it? Oh, let me borrow that. Let me hold that for a second.
I honestly think this is something like every other day you come over to the crib. This is something you can definitely knock out. It's not long.
Okay, well, very briefly.
Yes.
Let's tell people briefly the history of this game. Devil May Cry is a action adventure game from Capcom that's been out for almost 20 years.
Yep.
It tells the story of Dante, who is his son of Sparta. Now, is he half human, half demon, or is he just a demon?
He's half human, half demon.
He's half human, half demon, fighting on the side of the humans of us lowly humans with his trusty sword and his two guns, ebony and ivory.
Damn right.
And it's like I said, it's an action adventure game. It's more of a shooter, but not. It's more I'd say like Uncharted or God of War.
Yeah, it's more
something
it's like they call it character action.
Yeah,
that's the genre.
Yeah, it's more that than say Max Payne.
I'll put it this way, to give you a quick gloss over, just about the game in general. The game, it's bracketed up into 20 missions. That's how all Devil May Cries are, always 20 missions. This game has 3 separate characters. Nero from 4.
Yes.
Dante shows up, and V,
right,
mysterious character.
Right.
They all play wildly different.
So I've heard.
You will love Dante. You will love Nero.
But I heard V is very tricky.
You will hate V
to figure it out. Because before you came over, spoilers, I read the IGN review of it. They gave it a 9.5.
Yeah, deserved.
Does it really?
The fucking deserved.
Okay. But they did make mention of the fact that V is maybe the toughest character on this one.
I will tell you this right now. You will hate him solely from the fact that he does not play like anything you've ever played before.
Yeah,
it's like trying to solve a Rubik's Cube while playing Bop It or Skip It on your foot.
Because he doesn't have weapons per se. He can summon people, summon things.
The bird and the cat.
And all you can really do is just kind of phase around and
you just walk around.
Yeah.
Now, it's funny because all the things that he uses to fight are villains from the first and second game. Well, not the first and second, first and third. So that's cool. Nero, he doesn't have his regular demon arm anymore. He has equipable arms, and that's kind of like his style system. You know how Dante can hot swap between weapons.
Yeah.
He has arms that have different functions. So he has his gun.
Yep.
He has a sword that he can rev up like a motorcycle, and he has
from part 4.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he has these arms called Devil Breakers. And they each have a special move, so you kind of just equip them as if you were playing Call of Duty.
Right.
And if you get bored of the arm you're using, you can forcefully break it to avoid getting hurt, or you could just charge it up and use a huge super move. The pacing of the game, like I said, each mission is pretty short to the point. You get going, and the story, I'm not going to say anything about the story because if anything I say could be a potential spoiler.
Right.
I'll say this, the new girl in the game, Nico, personality out the ass. I love her. She's up there with Trish. She's up there with Lady. She fits in the series. She's kind of fucking batshit crazy with the stuff she does. And she's just a side character. You don't play as her. She's just, she's your shopkeeper. So I got through the game. I'm going to scrape through it again just to get all the hidden missions and stuff like that.
Does it have Bloody Palace?
That's going to be the free DLC that comes with it, and that's going to be the only DLC.
Bloody Palace is survival mode for people out there that just wondering, what the fuck is Bloody Palace? It's
just a gauntlet mode. It's a horde mode where you just go from floor to floor and you just keep fighting.
And that's the thing about the Devil May Cry series is that you get to do all these really cool kind of acrobatic stunts, shoot bangs, and sword play and all that, and it's a combo system, and that's what people say. Like, this is the best the best combat system. That's at least what IGN said. It was the best combat system of any of them. And why there's no puzzles, thank God.
No.
The challenge is trying to get the triple S's, triple S scores, and all
and
that.
They even have something in there for people like you who tend to get lost in these games.
Give me an arrow.
Yeah, pretty much. Like
okay, cool.
You hold down the button and the character will face the direction that you need to walk.
So many more games need this.
So it's like if you're standing there scratching your head
for dum-dums like me, it's like, where am I going? Where am I going? I feel like my dad trying to play this shit. Where am I going, son? Where am I supposed to be going? Where am I going? Why is this bee trying to shoot me?
Yes. But
right.
All in all, it's a fantastic game. I usually don't get things day one, or I'll wait till the review. I knew I was going to get this. I talked about it a couple of podcasts ago. So.
Yeah, like I said, you've been chomping a bit, so
I definitely.
I'm glad to hear that DMC5 is Brother C approved.
And yes, 2 thumbs up. Took my shoe off, put my toe up too.
I'll wait till a flash sale for that. When it's like $30.
Yeah, no.
Give it like a good year.
Yeah,
give it like a good year.
You know how they'll do like the midsummer sale. You probably won't wait that long.
Yeah, all right, $40. All right, I get it now.
All right, next thing up that I'm waiting for. Oddly enough, and I told myself I'm probably not gonna get it.
Division
I might just.
2? Really gonna get that bullshit?
Oh fuck no! I'm not getting it. I know that's okay. The fighting game, of course. Mortal Kombat 11.
Oh, I just assumed you was gonna get that. I know I don't know who the fuck you're trying to.
No, because so my thing.
I knew you was gonna get this. If it's a fighting game, chances are you're gonna get it. That's why I was like, I'm not getting this because I know you're going to get it.
I'll get a hard copy so you can borrow it whenever you want.
No, you get it.
Whenever you
okay, great. You can get a hard copy. Just bring it to my goddamn house. Right. And we can get back to where we were years ago with our rivalry.
Playing games for shots.
Yeah. Games for shots.
Yeah, I'm waiting to get that. It's just kind of, the
that comes out next month, doesn't it?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah. Either that at the end of this one or the beginning of next one.
Yeah.
They pretty much have a lot of goofy shit going on in it. It's a weird build your own character type title. So.
Yeah, like I said, the last one I didn't care for it too much.
And that's kind of the reason I was on the fence. It was
fine, but it wasn't like 9 was. And 9
was great. Really special to both of us.
Yeah, it has a very special place in my heart.
Yeah, there's no 2v2. So
and then 10 came out. I was like, well, this is okay, but it ain't like the last one. No. I just didn't feel it. Yeah.
And so at the end of the day, I think that's what I was looking forward to, kind of, sort of. and I've actually been going through. I mean, I did have somewhat of a week. I'm not sure if you heard about the Evo announcement, the games that are coming.
No, I have not.
Basically, Evo is the largest fighting game tournament of the year.
Right.
It's hosted in Las Vegas, Mandalay Bay.
Okay.
I mean,
Getting bigger and bigger every year. Didn't I think the finals were on ESPN, wasn't
the
it?
finals have been on ESPN, I believe, 2 years in a row. They
All right.
sell out Mandalay Bay, and it's just hilarious because I remember when this was being held in just convention centers with no AC or nothing like that.
Not in place where boxing matches happen.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they pretty much announced Samurai Showdown, which was not even out yet. That's coming out. They're making a new one, so
really?
That's going to be in the lineup, and a lot of people were surprised about that, including me. So
yeah, especially because I didn't even know they were making a new one.
Yeah, I mean, I heard musings about it, so if anything, I'm looking forward to that the most because I haven't played Samurai Showdown in years.
Right.
So I've just been going back and playing a lot of the older games that are going to be on that lineup since there's been a resurgence of everybody, getting Evo ready. Other than that, I've been rereading.
Well, wait a minute.
Yes.
What else is what else is on the lineup?
Okay, the lineup is pretty
Obviously
much
Mortal Kombat.
It's the staples.
Street Fighter.
Mortal Kombat, Street Fighter, Smash Brothers, the new one.
The Switch version?
Yeah, the Switch version.
Okay.
They got rid of the old one.
Right.
Tekken, of course.
Right.
Because Tekken is, come on, it's Tekken 7. It's fucking great.
DOA?
No. And I'll tell you a funny story about that. Slight digression. I say that a lot, apparently.
Yeah. Do you?
Yeah, someone.
Is that like my absolutely?
Yes, someone picked up that I say slight digression a lot. But DOA, there was an event in Japan where they were broadcasting like a lot of the functions in the game, and DOA is pretty much known as a titty fighter. It's a primarily female cast. It has jiggle physics. Everybody's greasy like strippers.
Yes.
And everybody knows that's kind of the motif of the game.
Yeah.
So before, DOA 6 came out, they said, look, we're going to make this as legit as possible. That went tits up the second this event happened because you have, Japan don't quite have porn stars, they have gravure models. And that's the equivalency of like high-end strippers that are, they do photo shoots and stuff like that.
Instagram thoughts?
Kind of, sort of, yeah.
Okay.
So they have these like girls showcasing the game, and they're like gyrating and grinding on each other and feeling on each other. And they had to cut the stream because they were doing a dual broadcast.
Yeah. I think you were talking about this last week.
I might have.
Yeah, I think you talked about that. I think you explained that last week.
They cut off the stream, and they were like, this doesn't cater to our core values as a, Evo staff. And there you go. We don't like titties.
Yeah.
We're
nerds. We don't like titties.
But we like people getting their heads ripped off.
Because we don't ever get to touch them. That's why. But then again, you're in fucking Vegas. Yeah. Figure it out.
Yeah, please figure it out.
Figure that shit out. Because if I was in Vegas, you better believe I'm touching some titties when I'm out there. If I'm not with someone, which at the minute I'm not. So if I go to fucking Evo, you better believe that's the first thing. Like, all right, where's the weed? And where's the hookers? Okay. Oh,
the last few games that got announced was, as I said, Samurai Showdown, which was a huge surprise to everybody. Another game that's going to be back and actually had the most viewers is Dragon Ball FighterZ, which is, if anybody grew up as a kid, they at least seen an episode of Dragon Ball. I don't think I have to explain it.
Yeah, well, not only that, but as a public service announcement to everybody that's out there on YouTube right now, go to Simply Asa's YouTube page and you can see him trying to be a tournament fighter.
Yeah, Simply Ask One is my YouTube channel.
And you can see him think he's Evo ready.
I never think that. I just post up cool shit that I think is okay.
For years, things like, yeah.
Look, if I ever got a chance to go to Evo, I damn sure know I'm going to enter in everything, probably win nothing, but have a blast doing it.
Once we do the remake of The Wizard.
Yes.
I'm gonna play Fred Savage, and you're gonna play a retarded kid.
I'm gonna lick all the controllers and some elbows.
Keep your power gloves away from my girl.
The last game that actually got in is a game that you might have seen me playing earlier, if you were on PSN. Is called Unist for short, but it's called Under Night in Birth. It's an anime game.
Yeah. Oh, when you're silly fucking
2 a.m.
happy Saturday fisticuffs weird Jap fight game.
Yes, it is a weird ass Japanese fight game. But the thing about it is this, and it's one of those games that's actually been out for years, but it's always been relegated to like side tournaments, and maybe it'll have its own like feature tournament, like in Philly, Frosty Faustings and stuff like that. I'm not even sure if they still do that tournament, but they have their own anime tournaments, and it's usually there. But the community has grown so much and by leaps and bounds that the Evo staff was like, look, man, y'all been putting up the numbers. Y'all proved that y'all are really diehard, so y'all get your shot at, the big stage. So that's really good that, games can work themselves up into getting on the Evo roster. So I've been, just going back into those games. And it's funny that we started this podcast on Neverland, so I'm going to end the podcast on Neverland. I've been rereading a manga called I was about to say Finding Neverland, which is not what it's called.
Again. Johnny Depp's like,
Sorry.
will you stop saying that this all this weird shit is about me?
Yeah.
It's not.
It's called Promise Neverland, and the anime actually just came out.
Okay.
I don't really watch it if I read it. But a short synopsis on what this thing is about. So you have these kids in an orphanage, right? And they're being raised by a kind caregiver until you find out that the orphanage is really a farm, and the farm ships off these, preteens to demons to be fed to them. And the particular orphanage / farm that these kids are on produces the highest grade meat for these demons to eat. So it becomes Prison Break with kids. Not to be, eaten, and the first arc of the manga is them breaking out, and the second arc of it is them figuring how the fuck they're gonna survive in a world where everybody's out to get them. So it's kind of like Prison Break meets Lord of the Flies.
Okay.
And it's a really good read. I mean, if you're
into manga.
If you're into manga, but if you rather just watch it, it just started, so okay. I plan on maybe catching a few episodes. I usually don't like watching it because it tends to be slower than reading about 100 volumes in a weekend. Yeah. So that's me. That's what I'm up to.
Oh, okay.
And that's about it.
I haven't really read anything recently except for like Criminal.
Yeah.
And this thing called Die from Image. It's basically, I won't get too much into it, but it's basically, you might be a little too young to remember the Dungeons and Dragons cartoon.
I remember.
It's nice and around.
Okay, cool.
But it tells it asks the question, what if the Knights of Round actually came back home? What happened to them?
Okay, cool.
When they got back.
Yeah.
That's pretty much what Die is. It's about these kids. They're playing a role-playing game. It was for real. They were trapped in this fucking fantasy world, and then they come back as adults and they have all kinds of fucking problems and shit. And then have to go back to this fantasy world again.
That reminds me of another comic that I was reading. It's called Birthright. I think I might have told you about it before, but it's a similar premise where it plays out like Never-Ending Story. Yeah. Like you have a kid that gets whisked away to a fantasy world where he has to like save it.
Yeah.
And then he comes back. And in the meantime that he was gone, his dad was like put in jail because they thought that he murdered his own son.
Yeah.
And it kind of tells a dual story of, okay, the kid's whisked away and he has to survive in this fantasy world and he eventually comes back, but it also tells the story of what the fuck happens when these kids go missing and like all the weird shit that happens with families and that and it kind of just culminates into he comes back and has to deal with the fantasy world shit in his real world with his family.
Yeah.
And yeah, it sounds a lot like what's going on with Die.
Yeah, you should give that a shot.
All right, then I think I will.
Give that a chance. It's from Image.
Oh, cool. I love Image.
All right. So one last thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I swear, it's going to probably be another running gag as well, because people are going to be like, well, you really talk about your ex-wife quite a bit in the show. But through talking to her, do you know of a group called Baby Metal?
Yes, I do know of a group called Baby Metal.
This woman is a huge fan of Baby Metal.
God, Baby Metal.
To the point where she saw them in concert.
Did she?
Yeah.
Well, okay, see, the thing about Baby Metal is, okay, God, man. Okay, look, I'll keep it really brisk.
Yeah.
Baby Metal is pretty much offshoot of a genre called Visual Kei in Japan. It's pretty much just, imagine your emo crowd mixed with, it's juxtaposed genres where you have cutesy stuff but with heavy metal undertones.
Like death metal, it sounds like.
Yeah, it's death metal.
Because that's the thing. Because I was like, who the fuck is Baby Metal? And she was like, well, watch the karate video.
Yeah.
So I did.
Yeah.
And I was like,
yeah.
The thing is that, and I'm sure if she hears this, she's probably going to have a lot to say to me personally. But I was like, who are you? It is the age of adage that you never really know a person until you get divorced. Because this is not the woman that I knew like 20 years ago. She wasn't into like death metal bands and shooters. I'm like, what the fuck happened to you?
But you know what? It's like, okay, and we're gonna get into this probably next fucking podcast.
Yeah.
I love and explore weird fucking music, okay? Baby Metal was one of those things that I tried to entertain myself with, but it devolved into just chalkboard noises and scratches.
Yeah.
Because they have such a high pitch tone that I just couldn't get into it anymore. But it's just one of those things where when you open yourself up to weird, goofy shit, you will find something that you like.
Well, they do remind me of the two little Japanese girls in the first Blade flick.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
what they remind me of.
That's it. There you go.
Yeah, that's what it remind me of. So, without anything else to talk about this week, let's do what we always do to close out the show. Some box office numbers. This is coming from JoeBlow.com. These are the top 10 highest grossing movies in the country this past weekend. Number 1, do I even really need to say this? I would say figure it out, but this is a podcast, so we have to explain things. Captain Marvel was the number 1 movie in the country this past weekend. Now, last week, you and I played a friendly game of over or under.
Uh-huh.
You picked this. You said this movie would make over $100 million, and boy, did you win! You won. It's not even made just barely over $100 million. It made over $100 million. In fact, it made so far as we speak, $153 million.
Ooh-wee.
Yeah, and that's just domestically. Now I don't know if it's opened up in other parts of the world, but here it's made $153 million so far.
Girls are doing it and doing it and doing it.
But I'm hearing very mixed reviews of Captain Marvel.
I haven't heard any reviews yet, but it's like I've gone through my brief YouTube glance, and it seems really split.
I have pretty much stayed away from reviews and YouTube stuff about it because I like to think, anyways, by this time next week,
you'll see it.
I will see it for myself.
Okay.
So hopefully I will have a review of Captain Marvel. Let me put it this way, because I'm getting a little bit better at putting graphics on the screen. So next week, if you see a graphic for Captain Marvel, you know that I've seen it. If not, you'd be like, well, he didn't see it. So that was the number 1 movie in the country. Number 2 was How to Train Your Dragon, The Hidden World, made 14.6. I mean, it was the Captain Marvel and everything else fell off, really. And it made $14.6 million over the weekend. It has made $119.6 million domestically. So congratulations. As we said last week, it's probably going to get over the $100 million mark. Number 3, Tyler Perry's A Medea Family Funeral.
Oh, fuck me.
Made $12 million, made $45.8 million, which probably is more than what it costs to make this goddamn movie. So you're gonna still see some Tyler Perry shit. One thing I do want to do, maybe we'll do this on DrunkMania if Joel's here.
Mm-hmm.
Little Joel, he's married to a black girl who loves these movies. I would love to get a retrospective of Tyler Perry movies from him being a white guy and being dragged to these black flicks. Because I do want to know, out of these movies, which one is the best and which one was the absolute dog shit of the
and
Tyler Perry
I'm
movies.
more interested in, of course he's probably seen a bunch of them. And if he does enjoy them, I don't know if he does or doesn't or just indulges. What do you get from him? It's like it just seems like, remember how he said Green Book was pandering? Those movies are pandering. Those movies are just look at us. This is what we do, and there you go. And so I would love to understand if he does enjoy them. What does he get? What does he get from them?
Yeah. Speaking of Captain Marvel, as I'm reading this movie had the second best opening of any solo superhero movie.
Really?
Besides Black Panther.
Oh, okay.
Because Black Panther started out with $202 million. So, number 4 was the Lego Movie 2, second part.
Yay.
$3.8 million over the weekend, $97.1 million total domestically. So it probably will cross over $100 million, obviously. Number 5 was A Little Bella Angel, made $3.2 million, $78.3 million domestically, and with the what it did over in China, for example, which broke records over there, made $65 million on its first weekend, over $100 million domestically, worldwide, internationally. Number 6 was Green Book.
Yay.
Yep. $2.4 million, $80.1 million for the Best Picture winner at this past Oscars. Number 7 was Is It Romantic? Even though it's way past fucking Valentine's Day. Right? $2.4 million, $44.1 million altogether. Number 8 was Fighting With My Family. Made $2.1 million, $18.6 million. I don't know how much it cost, but $18.6 million seems like it's kind of a bomb for Paige. Paige is having just a rough time these last few years. You know what I mean? Number 9 was Greta. The one we talked about last week with Chloe Moretz Grace.
Yeah, slouchy.
Yeah, slouchy girl. We'll get into why she's slouchy. You know what? We should probably get into that next week. You know what? I'm gonna write that down for next week because we've been talking about slouchy, how slouchy this girl is, and I'm sure by now it's like after 2 episodes, it was like, why did they keep calling her slouchy? Yeah. We will explain that next week. But that movie made $2.1 million and made $8.2 million total. And number 10 was a movie called Apollo 11. I have no idea what this movie's about.
Neither do I.
I know it's not like, what was the last one? What was it, Apollo 10? The horror one?
The horror movie with the moon rocks that kill people?
Spoilers, yeah. But
oh, come on. If you ain't see it now, you ain't going to see it.
Yeah, you're not going to see it. And not only that, we'll get into that some other time. Yeah. But that movie made $1.3 million. It made $3.7 million all together. And that is the top 10 movies of the week, according to JoeBlow.com. I don't know what's coming out this upcoming weekend, to be honest. I know what's coming out next weekend, a movie that I guess I'm kind of still looking forward to it, honestly. Us. That comes out next weekend. Not this weekend, but next weekend.
All right, we're going to go see it.
What, in the theater?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck that. I don't want to see that shit in the theater.
You don't want to see it in the theater?
No, wait.
I'll treat.
I guess.
There you go. See, you can't beat free.
I guess, yeah. We're going to have to figure out a day where we can do this because sure as hell not going to be on the weekend. And on Mike, I'm sorry. I know you talked about last week about your dad's birthday dinner. I'm sorry I will not be able to make it.
Oh, it's not his birthday. We're just going out to eat.
No. In any event, it's on a Saturday and I have to work, unfortunately. Aww. So, yeah. Yeah, wrestling came up here Saturday, and somebody asked me at the job, oh, did you go? No. I was fucking stuck at work.
Yeah.
Like I always am. God damn it. But, so, that is all the shit we have for you today. I've been Alan One. He's been a sick brother. See, I'm going to get him out of here so he can go home and convalesce. This has been the Geeks From Apt 2 podcast. And as always, we keep the door open for you. Laters.
Deuces.